Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we are doing the Davis versus Garcia breakdown video, as I am going to break down the Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia catchweight fight, and let you guys know my prediction and all that good stuff. Now, before we get into that, if you guys could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate any and all support. Just trying to pump my channel out there, and I really love what I'm doing. So yeah, if you guys can just show me a little bit of support by smashing that like button or leaving a comment, that would be great, or subscribing, that would be awesome. You know, and if you don't like what I'm doing, give me a thumbs down. I'm sure there's going to be some people on either side that don't like what I say and aren't going to enjoy this. So thumbs down, and you can also leave a comment letting me know why you don't like what I'm doing. But all that being said, let's get into the fight. Now, if you have not seen my breakdown videos before, we usually go with the in a fight like this, it's a non-title fight, so usually go with the favorite, and then the underdog would go second. We'll talk about him second, but I usually will break down the fight, what it means, the details of the fight, and then I go to the favorite and the underdog, asking the same questions. What do they have to do to win the fight? Can they win by knockout? Can they win by decision? Is it, you know, what it means to them if they win or lose? And then the final two things at the end, after I've broken down both fighters, is I will say, is it better for boxing if one or the other wins? And then finally, I will give my prediction. So here we go. The Huge Showdown, Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, April 22nd, Saturday, Showtime pay-per-view, big time catchweight showdown. Now, what does a catchweight mean? Well, these two guys are meeting at a catchweight of 136 pounds. So technically, it's a junior welterweight fight. Now, Gervonta Davis, that means he's moving up 1 pound in between fights. He has been fighting at lightweight his last pretty much 3 or 4 fights. He will be taking on, actually, I think it's been his last 3 fights. And then Ryan Garcia is coming down 4 pounds from his last fight to compete here against him. He's been fighting at 140. The full weight. Just in his last fight, he actually did fight there 2 fights prior, also against Emmanuel Tago, but that was at like 138 pounds and a little bit over that. Now, the biggest thing besides the catch weight is the fact that Gervonta Tank Davis is, you know, making it an issue that the rehydration clause in a contract. So Ryan cannot weigh any more than 10 pounds over 136 pounds. So he can't weigh any more than 146 the day of the fight. So rehydration clause, that means they are going to weigh him again on Saturday to make sure he's not over 136. Now, Ryan has taken all these demands with a smile and keeps pushing forward. I believe there's also a rematch clause in the contract if Tank loses. There is not one, apparently, if Ryan loses this fight. So, again, this makes it all, this makes it all very, very interesting right here between these two superstars. And this, I mean, guys, this is a monumental mega fight between two young superstars that really are trying to make their stamp as the future face of the division. As Canelo Alvarez, you know, he's around 32, 33 years old now. He is, you know, hitting the twilight years, so he's going to be around still a little bit more, but these two guys can really put their best foot forward and lock down major fights, no win or lose, but the winner is definitely going to be on cloud 9 and the man here. So let's start with now that we've broken down the fight. Davis's title at 135, his secondary belt, is not on the line. Let's go to each fighter. So we will start with Gervonta Tank Davis. And what has he done coming into this fight? Well, we go back usually the last 3 fights. Now, his last 3 fights date back to Isaac Cruz in December of 2021, where he defended the WBA regular lightweight championship and walked away with a hard-fought 12-round unanimous decision over Cruz. Some people thought he might have lost the fight because Cruz threw a lot of punches, was coming at him, but Davis was able to box him. He claimed he injured a hand in that fight, and that's why he didn't finish Isaac Cruz. But so that was only the second time that he's been the distance in his whole career. He's 28-0, 26 knockouts. And following that, in June of last year, he would square off, I think it was June, he squared off against Rolando Romero for the WBA regular title. And actually, that was his last fight. Now that, I believe that was his last fight. Jeez, why am I... No, it wasn't. I'm sorry. He fought in January. God, I am totally tripping. No, he fought, Tank Davis fought Rolando Romero. Big trash-talking fight right there. He caught Romero in a close fight. He caught him clean in the 6th round, stopped him to retain the title at 135. And then in his last one, in January of this year, he took on Hector Luis Garcia, the undefeated 130-pound champion who moved up in weight. And Tank just kind of methodically broke him down and was able to stop him in the 9th round, or the end of the 8th, and stay undefeated and retain his title again. So Tank has been rolling his last couple fights. He's got knockouts, he's got a lot of steam, and he is supremely confident heading into this fight. So, or else he wouldn't have taken the fight. So, what kind of style though? What does he need to do to beat Ryan Garcia? Well, I really believe Tank needs to become a boxer, and he needs to be moving. And he needs to move to his left constantly. Now that means he's going to move into Ryan's right hand, but he's also going to avoid Ryan's left hook to the body, left hook to the head if he moves to his right, or to his left. Yes, again, he'll move into Ryan's right hand range, but he needs to avoid the left hook to the body, left hook to the head. Also, Ryan has a very significant height advantage. We're talking 4.5-inch height advantage. That is a big deal. It really is right there. So he needs to be prepared for that. That's not going to be easy. And Ryan has a 2.5-inch reach advantage. So Tank, in my opinion, what he needs to do to win this fight is he needs to box. He definitely needs to test Ryan's chin and see what Ryan can take early, but he does not need to get careless with it and get caught with something big. So if I'm Tank, I'm going into this in great condition, trying to break down Ryan, who really has not been in a tough fight late into the later rounds. And I think maybe he can drown him in the late rounds and everything if he can do that. But again, it's not going to be easy, and he needs to box to try to hurt Ryan early, try to catch him with something, so he can definitely make a dent in the breakdown of Ryan Garcia. Now, again, not going to be easy. Now, can Tank Davis win this fight by knockout? Tank has proven to be a pure power puncher. I do believe that if he catches Ryan, he could possibly hurt him and stop him. I do believe that, and I do believe that he might be able to break him down and stop him in the late rounds if he fights the right kind of fight and doesn't get caught. So yeah, I think a knockout is possible. Now, do I think he can win a decision against Ryan Garcia? That's going to be tough. Ryan is tall, and he's got the length also. In terms of the better boxer, I really couldn't tell you who the better boxer is. I haven't seen them fight enough credible opposition to prove that, and Tank usually knocks his opponents out. Now, some guys have fought him close fights before. They have landed shots on Tank. So this is going to be interesting, because I don't think Tank's fought somebody with the power and the speed of Ryan Garcia, and the size as well to go with it. So that's going to be interesting. But a decision is going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be difficult for Tank. And not impossible, but I think it's difficult. So is it more likely that Tank would knock him out for a victory or get a decision? To be honest, I gotta lean towards a knockout win. If we're being full honesty, then I think he could likely win that one easier. It's not going to be easier, but I think it's more likely he wins by knockout over Ryan than a decision. Now, what does a victory mean for Gervonta Tank Davis here? Well, it means everything. A win pretty much confirms why he's the favorite and that he is, you know, the future of boxing. And it pretty much sets him up with being able to fight whoever he wants, and he'd be the A side. So I think a win over Ryan really puts him in the driver's seat to call shots against everybody. He'd be able to call shots over Loma, over Haney. He'd force them to come over to Showtime, come over to his turf, because he's the A side to fight. He wouldn't have to eat that humble pie and go onto somebody else's turf or across the street. So that's what I believe he needs to do in this one in order, you know, or that's what a win means for Tank Davis. Now, what does a loss mean for Tank Davis? Well, any kind of loss really is going to hurt Tank, but especially if he gets knocked out. If he gets knocked out against Ryan, that's going to be very, very tough on him in his career. It's really going to be a major setback. If he fights him tough and it's a close one, they can have the rematch, so it really wouldn't hurt him too badly, because I think it is close to a 50-50 fight in terms of fans and critics and what they're picking. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if he wins or loses this fight. And, you know, so a loss, I don't think is going to hurt him badly, as long as it's not a bad loss. As long as he's contending in the fight and the fight is close and he's making a dent. But we got to see. So now we are going to move on to the underdog, the undefeated, former interim lightweight champion, Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia enters this fight undefeated. He's 23-0 at 19 knockouts, and he is his last 3 fights date back to January of 2021, where he met Luke Campbell for the WBC interim lightweight title. And what was the toughest test of his career? It was a really good fight. He got put down in the second round by a left hand from Campbell, and then answered back, breaking Campbell down and stopping him with a brutal left hook to the body as he remained undefeated, became the interim champion. Then he took a little bit of a sabbatical there. He didn't fight for about 15 months. He returned in April of 2022, fought Emmanuel Tago at about 138, 139 pounds in that area, and walked away with a clean, one-sided unanimous decision to stay undefeated. Then in his last fight, he took on former world champion Javier Fortuna and dominated him, stopping him in 6 rounds as he stayed undefeated again. So now he's going to cut 4 pounds in between fights, and he cannot weigh any more than 146. But Ryan does not seem to be worried about it. He really doesn't. There's been no concern from his camp. Now, he has, you know, you could say no concern, but he has, you know, thrown Tank under the bus about all this weight stuff. So I don't know if that's just kind of a false bravado, where he's just kind of, it is bothering him, but he's trying to put a spin on it, or it really doesn't bother him. But be that as it may, these are the rules, and this is what he's got to abide by. Now, what kind of fight does Ryan need to have to win this fight? He needs to hope that Tank doesn't continue to move to his left all night. But if he does, throw a jab. If he throws the jab with a 2.5-inch reach advantage and a 4.5-inch height advantage, he could own Tank Davis in this fight. Every time Tank loads up, catch him with a jab. Jab, jab, jab. Once Tank stops, left to the body, left to the head, all she wrote. Throw combinations. But 2 things. He needs to not back out with his head straight up. That's what got him knocked down against Luke Campbell. When he comes in, he backs straight out sometimes, and that got him caught. Tank has good power, and if he is depleting his body to fight Tank even a little bit, that could be dangerous. Now, he needs to try to make an impression and make a huge dent and really hurt Gervonta Davis in the first 6, 7, 8 rounds, and he needs to come in great shape. And he also needs to move while he's doing this to avoid body shots by Tank that might wear him down late in the fight. So if Ryan can come in great shape and use his height and reach and slow down Tank Davis, I think he can definitely be successful in this fight. Now, can Ryan Garcia win by knockout? I think the question is absolutely yes. Here's the thing. I don't understand why Tank's such a solid favorite coming into this fight, and I'll tell you why. Because he has not beaten anybody with Ryan's size, speed, and power. And, you know, everybody says Mario Barrios when he fought him at 140. Here's the thing. Barrios had not beaten anybody to that point. Some people don't even think he should have been undefeated. And, you know, yes, Barrios was a big 140-pounder, but look what happened in his next fight. He gained up to 147 instead of sucking himself down to 140, and he went 12 rounds with Keith Thurman. You're telling me Keith Thurman, who's a bigger guy, a much naturally bigger guy than Gervonta Tank Davis, couldn't knock out Barrios, but Davis could? I think the weight had everything to do with Tank Davis's victory over Mario Barrios. I think it had to do with the weight. That's why Barrios wore down late in the fight, because Barrios was winning that fight before he got hurt. It was close, very close on the cards. It was almost dead even, but that's the point I'm trying to make, is Tank against Leo Santa Cruz. Santa Cruz was in that fight. Against Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz almost beat him. He can lose rounds, and if he gets caught and hurt against a guy with the power of Ryan, that is really gonna, spell trouble. And I think Ryan can definitely knock out, in my opinion, I think he absolutely can knock out Gervonta Davis. So we'll see. Now, can Ryan win a decision? And that, what I just said a minute ago, Tank has lost rounds before. On multiple occasions, he has lost rounds. He is not a guy that goes out there and dominates going after a decision. He catches his opponents and knocks them out. And if he does that against Ryan, great. But I absolutely believe wholeheartedly that if he knocks Ryan out, or if he doesn't, I think Ryan's going to be winning the fight when it happens on points. So that means if they go 12, I think Ryan absolutely can win a decision. So what do I think is more likely? Do I think it's more likely that Ryan knocks Tank out or Ryan wins a decision? I really believe this fight is going to end in a knockout. But I think it's more likely that Ryan knocks him out, but I do believe a decision is very possible for Ryan as well. So that's that. Now, what does a win mean for Ryan Garcia? It means everything. With the odds stacked against him and him being the B-side and taking all the everything, he said yes to everything to Tank Davis to make this fight. If he can bull through that and knock Tank Davis out, then the world is his oyster. He is right there, and he can call shots at 135, 140, whatever. And everybody's going to have to come through him at the zone and all that stuff. Even if a rematch with Tank happens, he might be able to call the shots and everything on that fight. So a lot riding on a victory for Ryan Garcia here. Now, what does a loss mean for Ryan? Depends on how he loses. If he goes out there and gets his ass whipped or gets a predictable loss where he gets knocked out, but he's in the fight, then he's going to have a future. It's not going to hurt him too bad, but they're definitely going to be like, well, he's good, he's just not as good as Tank. So that can sting right there. That really can sting. But here's the kicker. With him being the underdog and coming in with the odds stacked against him with the weight clause, he loses his fight, Ryan can take his happy ass back to 140, and he's still an attraction. People still want to fight him. People might be more willing to fight him because they think he's more beatable if he loses the Tank. So it might, it's not a bad thing, in my opinion, with Ryan being so young, being the underdog, coming in with the odds stacked against him. Not going to be the worst thing if he loses this fight. He actually should have the I got nothing to lose type attitude, which makes him dangerous. So we'll see. Now that we're done with all the questions, I got to ask, is it better for boxing if Gervonta Tank Davis wins this fight or Ryan Garcia? And I'll tell you right now, I think it's good either way. Tank Davis can play that new kind of villain, but with exciting power, and people are going to love him, they're going to hate him, and they're going to tune in to watch him lose and to watch him fight, period. He's got a following, he's got a big name, and he'll be able to call the shots at 135 all the way up to 140. So Tank really can be in the driver's seat, and that's great for boxing. And Ryan Garcia, if Ryan Garcia can pull off the win with the odds stacked against him being the underdog, he will absolutely be wonders for boxing. So I really think you can make an argument for either guy that it's great for boxing as long as we have a clear-cut winner. And even if we don't, if it's just a really good fight and it's close, I think that's going to be good too, because then you have 2 stars. And I think you're going to have 2 stars no matter what. I think both these guys have something that they can bring to boxing, and it's going to be good. Now, the final thing, my prediction on this fight, and here's where I'm going to hurt some people. I'm picking Ryan Garcia to win this fight by knockout over Gervonta Tank Davis. I think it can happen early, or he's going to break him down and stop him in the middle rounds. But I think Ryan Garcia wins this fight. Why do I think that? I'll say it again. The size, the speed, and the power of Ryan is something that Tank's never fought before and never been in the ring with. And also, Tank gets hit. He has lost rounds. That means he gets hit. Ryan is fast and has insane power, and he is going to touch up on Tank Davis, and I think he's going to get him out of there. Now, I absolutely believe that Tank Davis is he's not the underdog coming in, but I do believe he's a live fighter to win this fight, which means I don't think he's going to win, but that means I do think he could win. I think he could catch Ryan and hurt him badly and stop him. Or, you know, he might be able to take Ryan into the deep waters and drown him and stop him in the late rounds as Ryan will wear down. And that might happen because of the weight clause. We have to wait and see. But Ryan's young, and he just 2 fights ago was a full-on lightweight. And yeah, maybe he was having trouble with the weight, and that's why he moved up. But it's not a big weight difference from what he's used to. Also, something else that I had read was that Ryan shouldn't be complaining about the 10-pound rehydration clause, because he's never weighed above 146 anyways for any of his fights. So I don't think the weight is going to be that big of a deal. It could be significant, but I don't believe it will be based on the evidence, the information that I've gathered. But I've been saying for a while about Tank Davis. He gets hit. He loses rounds. That means he gets hit. That means that this guy can hit him too. And I believe that Ryan, whether he wins or loses this fight, I believe he is the most talented and best fighter and most dangerous fighter that Tank has fought to this point. So that's it. That's what I got. Ryan Garcia by knockout over Tank Davis on Saturday, April 22nd on Showtime pay-per-view. This has been the Davis versus Garcia breakdown video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.